Hi everyone, this is me, Marie Blue Angel, and today I am playing the full game of Love and Country. I'm very excited to play this game. Guhuhu Games, the game devs, um, were very generous and gave me a key to the game, which thank you so much. I very much appreciate it because I'm so excited to dive back into the world of spy assignments and infiltrating enemy territory and all that. And of course, seeing how Lillian fares with one of two of these men, at least at first. We'll see. Um, yeah, I don't know. I've played the demo of this game maybe back in February. I feel like it was February. I may be wrong, but that's okay. If I'm wrong, it's fine. But I'm very excited to get back into it, see, what things have been added on, especially to like the first part of the game, the introduction. Um, I already made up my mind whose route I'm gonna go on, but it may not be a surprise to people who have seen me play the demo, who I would choose between these fine gentlemen's routes rather. But anyways, I'm just very excited. This is so great. I'm so excited to see the story in full and really enjoy it and everything. And I really hope that you enjoy it too. So, without much further ado, I will just start the game. For this first part, I will go through it kind of quickly, unless there's anything that's really changed from the demo. But I do want to see how the what do you call that? Like if there's been any additional add-ons to the writing or the story at the beginning. But anyways, let's just get started. Oh, this is different. April 2nd, 1916. Okay, good. I need some dates in mind. And I do like that title card or like transition card. Oh, here we are at the museum again. The Musée Jacques Martindre is in fine form this evening, lit up and flickering like a candelabra from within. The Rocaille style salons with their gilded accents only add to the influence and status present. And I believe I can click on this. Also, this might be a little too loud. So, I love the music though. The music's so good. I just worry sometimes when I'm recording the changes in music volume. Sometimes I don't notice until I look back at the recording. And I'm like, ah, yes, maybe that's a little too loud. I'm going to err on the side of caution and turn it down a bit more so we can hear it, but it's in the background. Okay, so it's a French design motif that was popular during the Rococo period. It features swirling ornamental patterns that were inspired by nature. The guests here sparkle and shine. The Parisian elite gathered for another philanthropic event for the city. The bombings last year left quite a few historic and artistic landmarks in ruin. When you traverse the city now, you see wooden planks skirting the monuments and paper tape crisscrossing the window panes. Parisians place sticky tape on glass in windows. This would prevent shards of glass from shattering inward during an air raid, which would injure people. Tape would often be crisscrossed in elaborate patterns, designs that became part of the Art Deco aesthetic. I think I remember that one. The front may be several miles off, but Paris is not untouchable. Because of this, her denizens are eager to do their part for the war effort. Young men have gone to fight. The women left behind take their places in the factories. The poor bear the brunt of food shortages and rationing. The wealthy lend their charity to rebuilding the city, if only to keep up appearances. Not everyone here tonight has the status, influence, or capital to fund the cause. Some of us are here to serve other purposes. Like yourself, Miss Lillian. Ooh, hey girl, it's been a while. Like me. I'm dressed to the nines, glittering along with the rest of them. But I'm here at someone else's behest. A waiter passes with a tray. Champagne, of course. Perfect timing. I was starting to get thirsty. I pluck 2 glasses from him and saunter over to a curly-haired young woman a few yards away. She's tucking a stray hair into place in the reflection of her compact mirror and biting her lip. She snaps it shut when she sees me and accepts her drink with relief. I will not put everyone through me reading French, and butchering it, so let's just stick to the English translations. Oh, you're a doll, thank you. You seem nervous. Do I? Goodness. I haven't been out to a party like this in weeks. It's been dreadful for my self-esteem, you know. Well, I think you look stunning tonight. She gives me a small smile. Thank you, Lily. Tati takes a sip of her drink, her eyes scanning the crowd. With a smirk, she inclines her head towards a small group of women chatting in the opposite corner. Madame de Givry looks absolutely bored to tears. You would too if people were always asking you for money. It's tedious. Admittedly, though, Madame Margot de Givry does look uninterested. She alone is seated amongst her chittering peers, her gaze drifting as she leans on her cane and drums her fingers impatiently. Someone as well-traveled as Margot has little desire to fritter away her time at these social affairs, but she still does as expected. I think it was still a little too loud. It's like at the lowest volume I can have it on. Okay, so, again, I'm reading through these pretty quickly, but I do remember the story. They're at a party, and Lillian's here to do something. But I won't spoil it for people who don't know what's going to happen. It's very fun. Thanks to her wealth and social position, she has nothing stopping her from letting those around her know exactly what she is thinking. Everyone is happy to accept her pointed comments, just as long as she still attends and gives generously. Over the past 2 years, I've gotten used to the formidable way in which she conducts the people around her, as only a grand dame can, and I've come to enjoy my situation as her lady's companion. A nice problem to have, I should think. Tati sighs and adjusts the straps of her sleeves. The Beauchesne family fortune has been in decline for some time now, leaving them with only a vineyard in Corsica and their good names. Their crops have done poorly in the past few years, so that too is now at risk. The Beauchesne's last hope is their daughter, Tatienne. She attends every party, gathering and reception that she can, all in hope of attracting a suitable husband who will give the Beauchesnes the cash injection they need to keep the estate running. I'm sure you'll have problems like that soon enough. Who is here tonight? Let's see. I start scanning the room to identify some suitable prospects for her. Oh, take a look at... Who? Oh, take a look at Henri Boussier over there. He's rather dashing, isn't he? Even with that odd mustache he's sporting nowadays. Her face. Sorry, girl. Tati frowns. I heard that he's run up quite the bill at his club. Too much time at the card tables. Between him and his brother, it's a miracle the Boussiers have anything left. Tati directs her attention to an older gentleman with thinning hair and a sleepy look. I suppose there's always Monsieur Poplain, dull as he is. Ugh, rot! I don't care how deep his pockets are. I refuse to let you resign yourself to an old goat like that. What about Monsieur de Robillard? I thought he was already married. His wife passed last year. Very sad. I think you could be the one to cheer him up. I give Tati a wink. She looks a little timid, clearly in want of more encouragement. Come on, go! You can do it, girl. Secure your bed. and hopefully be happy also. That'd be great.
I mentally wish her luck as she corners her quarry, grateful not to be in her shoes. Most women are expected to hunt for husbands after finishing school, where Tati and I met. These are private schools meant to prepare young women of the upper class to enter fashionable society. Lillian attended a finishing school called Manoir Vauquelin. With my parents still living back in San Francisco, my obligations and their expectations are out of reach. I am free to enjoy Parisian life on my own terms. With my conversation partner now otherwise occupied, I wind my way through the gallery and take in paintings on display.
Good luck, Tati.
Intrigued by a portrait of Venus laid out in a bed of pink silk, I step in for a closer examination. The detail is incredible, how the light reflects off each of the pearls of the strands adorning her body. Having completed my examination, I step back, only to bump into someone.
Who is it?
Pardon. I spin to see a man not too much older than myself, looking cross as he examines the front of his suit, now covered in champagne. I am so sorry.
Watch where you're... I love this part. It's so funny to me. Absolutely. Do what you need to do.
I'm prepared for him to scold me, but he stops short as he looks up from his spoiled clothes and our eyes meet. The words die in his mouth, and for a moment, we are just staring at each other. Remembering myself, I dive into my handbag for a handkerchief. Here, let me. I blotted the droplets still rolling down his front with limited effect.
That's all right. You really don't have to, this man says, as he blushes.
Determined as I am, my handkerchief accomplishes very little. I look up apologetically. For a moment, I'm surprised to see his features tinged with pink until I realize how close I'm standing next to him and how much I've been touching his chest. Mortified, I take a step back to a respectable distance. I was so taken by the painting, I wasn't paying attention at all.
Goodness, Lillian, I love it.
Yes,
she's very beautiful. I probably commented this the last time I played this. I was like, not that type of comment. That compliment.
He's not looking at the painting as he says this. He's looking at me. I can feel the blush bloom on my cheeks. We are probably the same shade now. He gives a nervous cough before continuing on.
This is quite the gathering here tonight, isn't it, mademoiselle? Oh, mademoiselle...
He waits for me to supply my name. Sinclair.
Philippe Naudet. Enchanté.
Enchanté, Monsieur Naudet. I hold out my hand for him to take and smile warmly. Are you a patron of the musée?
No, I'm afraid they won't see so much as a centime from me. 1/100th of a franc. Ah, yes, before the euro. Makes sense. it's like at least 100 years ago. I don't know much about art, you see.
You don't have to know anything about art in order to appreciate it. I caught you appreciating this particular piece well enough. I point to the Venus behind him. He laughs, reddening a bit.
Indeed. Well, don't I feel like a lecher?
Admiring the female form is many a man's favorite pastime, Monsieur Naudet. Don't take this the wrong way, but you're hardly an original when it comes to ogling.
I shall have to find a new passion then.
You're bound to find one. You seem like a very passionate fellow. He laughs again, a bit more nervously this time. We fall quiet, the playfulness of our conversation waning the more we catch each other's eye. So, you don't know one thing about art? He grins and shakes his head. I know Philistine, but the ability to distinguish a Manet from a Monet is something my brain has no space for. Edouard Manet was a 19th century French painter associated with realism. Claude Monet was a 19th century French painter associated with impressionism. Oh my. You can't tell between the two. My goodness. Those are two different art styles / genres, but okay, I guess he's being honest. Manet, Monet? That's two things. Don't sell yourself short, monsieur. Just don't ask me anything about them, I suppose. My employer is fanatical about this kind of stuff. I'm here at his behest, actually. Oh, who is your employer? Aristide Briand. I'm his secretary. A French politician who served as head of the French government 11 times between 1909 and 1929. He won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1926 for his work on the Locarno Treaties. I don't know what the Locarno Treaties are, but congrats to you. I blink at Philippe. He is the president of the council and the minister of foreign affairs. Oh, I see. Does the Minister of Foreign Affairs usually attend cultural fundraisers? It was a chance to meet with some of his colleagues in an unofficial capacity. And as I mentioned, he is somewhat of an amateur classical art savant. Let's not hold his fanaticism against him. After all, it is thanks to him that our paths have crossed. Oh, Lillian. I quirk my head and smile at Philippe, an expression he can't help but return. Yes, that is true. He looks tickled. It's a full beat before he remembers himself and continues the conversation. Enough of my not disinterest, sorry, I read the French. Enough of my non-interest in art. Where do your interests lie, Miss Linclair? I've always loved music. As it turns out, Philippe also likes music. We talk about the symphony and our favorite composers, finding common ground here and there. It isn't long before we exhaust this subject, though. We spend a few awkward moments chuckling to ourselves as we try to not let our gazes linger for too long. Would you care to take a turn around the room? It would be my pleasure. Encouraged by my invitation, he offers me an arm. As we stroll through the gallery, we manage to leave some of our timidness behind, and the conversation starts to flow with more ease. So, what brings you here tonight, mademoiselle? You never said. I am escorting a friend who is here by invitation of the Harrisons. They're apparently important people, and she's quite well known too. Alas, I'm a nobody. That doesn't bother me. Personally, I never felt at home with this crowd. I'm originally from a small town outside Rouen. Humble origins are nothing to be ashamed of. You're kind, sir. Well, you make it easy. As he blushes again. How many times are you gonna blush, Philippe? I blush, also. So, what is a day in the life of a secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs like? He smiles at my change of subject, but obliges me nonetheless. I manage Monsieur Briand's calendar, accompanying him to meetings, compile his brief press briefing each morning, that kind of thing. That makes you very important then. I don't know if I'd say that. Really? You're handling so many things for the minister. I love Lillian's, really? Face over here. Shocked. I love it. It sounds like you are his right hand. He puffs up with a little pride. Well, I suppose I do keep the train on the tracks. And you probably get to meet so many important people. Mostly foreign dignitaries, but yes, I did once meet the King of England. Wow, that's incredible. You are so lucky. He takes a satisfied sip from his glass. I pout. The most interesting person I'll meet this week is Madame Lafitte for tea. And all she talks about is her cats.
Nothing wrong with that. I know what Lillian's doing, but it's fine.
So tonight has been a rare treat for me. He smiles again as he catches me glancing at him. We fall into another conversation lull, but it's not uncomfortable this time. A few sips from our champagne glasses do enough to fill the silence. I'm suddenly aware that we have somehow wandered into an area of the museum that has not been prepared for the function. The lights are off in here, and the din of the guests sounds farther away than before. We are quite alone. How did we get here? Doesn't seem like anyone is supposed to be in this room.
Oh, you're right. I haven't the faintest idea. Shall we go back?
I don't know. I sort of enjoy the solitude. I set my glass down on a nearby table and take a tentative step towards him. What do you think? He pauses for a moment, but then lets out a small chuckle. He too sets down his glass.
Mademoiselle, you are going to get me in trouble.
I feel his fingers brush against mine, trailing up my arm slowly when I don't pull away. I won't tell the minister if you won't.
Shocker. Like I've never seen this before. Okay.
With that, he smiles, taking my face into his hands and kissing me tenderly. I allow myself to melt into his body more, which in turn encourages him to deepen the kiss. His hands travel down my neck and sides, landing on the small of my back to hold me. We come up for air briefly, which he takes as an opportunity to hold me in his gaze for a moment.
Why can't more women be like you?
Ugh. Okay. My dude.
I just think you aren't meeting the right types of women. You must broaden your horizons more. He laughs and strokes my chin with his thumb.
Perhaps I might.
Though you are quite worldly already. I'll bet you're meeting the King of Spain or something this week.
Oh, the Spanish ambassador, actually.
Spain maintained neutrality throughout the First World War. Public opinion in Spain was split. Members of the aristocracy, Catholic Church, and military generally favored the Central Powers, while the middle class, professional classes, and intellectuals generally favored the Allied forces. He rubs the back of his neck nervously.
I'm afraid I've said too much.
Oh, I didn't mean to pry.
You did not pry, mademoiselle. I misspoke. Forgive me.
Is it always very hush-hush, these meetings?
No, not always. It's just that with things as they are in Africa, it's a delicate matter.
Allied forces took German Cameroon, forcing the indigenous colonial troops led by German officers to retreat into Spanish Guinea. Though the Spanish nominally held the retreating German forces as prisoners, the German-led troop greatly outnumbered the Spanish and openly trained and drilled. Tensions rose as Allied forces threatened to invade Spanish Guinea.
But don't let me go on about work like this. Kiss me again.
I oblige him, this time with a tiny bite of his lip that makes him shudder. I feel his fingers press a bit harder into my flesh, a cue that he wants more but is afraid to ask for it. You're shy.
No, it is that you confound me. I'm not used to such assertiveness. I feel like taking advantages I presume I have no right to take.
Because I'm a lady?
Precisely.
I may have been brought up in proper society, but should that prevent me from acting on my passions?
In a more enlightened era, perhaps you could. The world is still very backwards in its treatments of the fairer sex.
I slink my arms around his neck. I knew you were smart. Like that business with Africa you mentioned. I'm sure you're a positive influence on the minister. Progressive minds prevail in the colonies, do they not?
I don't know. Progressive action is always hard won. Honestly, it's flattering, but I fear you inflate my role with the minister a bit. It's mostly paperwork and running around. Preparation for something like a foreign diplomatic visit is exhausting.
Really? Sensing my interest, he continues on.
Absolutely. I have to research all the topics I intend to discuss at the meeting, then brief the minister. I also have to make sure all the food and drink matches everyone's preferences. And then I have to arrange for security.
That does sound like a lot. Is everything arranged for this meeting already, or do you have to do more?
All the logistics are settled, so all that's left is the brief. The meeting isn't until Friday, so I'll manage.
Oh, Friday. I wonder, will I see you before then? He pulls me in close again.
Indeed. I'm sure I could get away. You might be worth a little bunking off after all.
Might?
As long as I secure that damned kava first.
Kava?
The ambassador of Spain will only drink sparkling wine from Spain. No champagne, just kava. Can you imagine? It's a crime, I know, but you wouldn't want to offend someone. One must be sensitive to the cultural practices of foreigners. Setting the mood with the right food and drink makes all the difference. If we serve kava at the meeting, there's a better chance of things going well. He launches into an anecdote about the lengths he's gone to secure a crate of kava. After running around the city, he finally found a seller who had promised to deliver some by midweek. But then he had to fight the owner of the restaurant where the meeting was to take place to convince him to put it on the menu that day. It'll all work out, but I don't think I made any friends at Chez Marais by bullying the owner. He'll probably tell the chief to spit in my food. Or the chef, rather. He laughs.
Chez Marais is so popular, I've heard it's nearly impossible to get a reservation. And to imagine they would shut down the place for a private meeting.
They have a private dining room in the back. There will be only 7 of us there, so no need to take up the whole restaurant. Even though I'm sure I could have done that if it was needed.
I'm impressed.
How impressed?
I grin at him and we kiss once again. This time he lifts me up against the wall, holding me there so that he might have more access to my body. I sigh as he runs a hand up my thigh, letting his lips brush along my neck. He buries his face into my shoulder. His shoulders shake with a quiet laugh.
What is it? It's just, I've never been so glad to have a waistcoat ruined.
Pulling myself away from him, I offer a coy look. If you can find me some more champagne, I'd be happy to give you another splash. I grab my empty glass from the table and wiggle it in the air, causing him to chuckle again.
I'll see what I can do. Just wait right here.
He takes my glass and disappears into the crowd. Left alone in the darkened room, I exhale. Philippe Naudet has told me everything I wanted to know. Time to make my way back to the main hall and find Margot. I see her in conversation with 2 older gentlemen. Upon catching her eye, I give her a nod, the signal we discussed beforehand. She waves me over, and as I make my way across the gallery, I see her shake hands with the gentleman, clearly putting an end to her conversation. When I reach her, she takes my arm. Lillian, I've had my fill of being generous tonight. Did you have an enjoyable time? Yes, madame. Good. We can go then. Have someone fetch the car for us. Right away, madame. In short order, Margot and I are tucked into the back seat of the car headed home. She wastes no time getting me to divulge. What did you learn of Monsieur Briand's schedule? Margot's driver is perfectly trustworthy, but she speaks in English to give us privacy. I tell her every detail that I extracted from Naudet about the minister's planned meeting with the Spanish ambassador. And how did you leave the conversation? I sent him for drinks. That didn't give you a very long window to escape him. It wasn't a problem this time, but it's always a good idea to give yourself more time than you need. Overall, I'd say it was a very good performance. Well done, my petite fleur. I'm going to enjoy reporting this to Sadul. Capitaine Sadul? I thought tonight was just a training exercise. It was, but it proves 2 points. First, that Le Pas Féminin seduction is effective, and second, that the men working for La République do not have their defenses up.
Too much of me going back and forth with pronunciations.
How much did Monsieur Naudet give away tonight in an effort to impress you?
I can't help but grin to myself. Enough to get the sack, I'd say. I hope that's not the case. He was nice, if indiscreet.
He deserves to be terminated for his lack of indiscretion, but no, he probably won't get more than a slap on the wrist. Lucky for him, you are not an enemy agent. Lucky for all of us.
I don't know much about the inner politics of the Deuxième Bureau, which is the Second Bureau, DB for short. It was a French intelligence agency from 1871 through 1940. But it's not hard for me to imagine the struggle Margot has been through. There aren't many women working for the Bureau, even fewer working as agents. I've gathered that Sadul is not keen on training young women as spies. I'm the first candidate that Margot has gained sanction to train. I wouldn't trade this opportunity for anything. When I graduated from finishing school 2 years ago, the only thing I knew was that I wasn't ready to go back to San Francisco. Margot made me an offer based on a recommendation from the headmistress of Benoit Vauquelin to stay in Paris as her companion. I naturally accepted. After a few months, once I had proven myself trustworthy and capable, Margot made me a second offer. I was blessed with natural good looks and trained to be charming, and graceful. I was fluent in French and German, and had even picked up a bit of Italian. I could use all of that to become a woman of good society, find a husband, and spend the rest of my life throwing dinner parties. Or I could do something more. Margot had learned a lot over the past 25 years as an agent of the DB, but age was starting to catch up to her, and she felt it time to pass on the torch. I can't imagine a life more thrilling than that. The next few blocks passed in a mutual satisfied silence. Tonight did go well. Margot studies me thoughtfully before speaking again.
I think it will be okay. Putting you out in the field.
Field work? I can hardly contain my excitement. Everything until now has been training and small tasks, all performed under Margot's watchful eye. Going into the field alone would be a big step.
Yes, abroad.
My jaw drops.
You need to do better at hiding your reactions, chérie. You shouldn't be careless just because we're in the car.
She's right. It's something that I've been practicing but still struggle with sometimes. Information is valuable. If I don't control my facial expressions, others will read me like an open book. I can't have that.
Honestly, I would have preferred to wait a little bit longer before giving you a task like this, but an old friend of mine is in some trouble, and time is of the essence.
She fixes me with a very serious look.
I can't go, so I'm sending you in my stead, you understand?
Oui, madame.
Good girl.
I'm abuzz with questions. Where am I going? What is my mission? When do I start?
What are the specifics? I'm glad you were eager, but we are just about home. Get changed and then come by my study. We'll discuss the details there.
The car stops in front of Margot's residence, one in a series of imposing townhomes, tall and caged by a wrought iron fence. The chauffeur helps Margot from the car. I'm close behind as we go to her front door. Sophie, Margot's maid, greets us at the entrance. Margot! How was the party, madame?
Dull. I'm glad we left early.
Sophie takes the madam's coat, then mine. I'm impatient, both to get out of my evening wear and to find out more about my new assignment. As soon as I'm free from my coat sleeves, I'm zipping up the stairs. The voices in the hall echo below me. Someone left you a note, madame.
Bring it here. Lillian?
I scamper back down the stairs as quickly as I left. When I reach the foyer, Margot is directing Sophie.
Bring back Mademoiselle Sinclair's coat, and have Jean-Jacques bring the car back around.
Madame? She waves me over as Sophie disappears to carry out her orders.
I thought I'd have time to brief you, but your partner is asking to meet you at La Libellule at 8.
That's in 20 minutes. Where is the Libellule?
I can't say that. I can't say that in my American way. Libellule. It's a bar, guys. It's fine.
More than 20 minutes away. Jean-Jacques will know. I did not realize he'd call for such a last-minute meeting. You'll need to leave now.
Who am I meeting?
Émile Desrosiers. He's a young man about your age with dark hair. His note mentions that he'll be wearing a burgundy scarf.
Sophie reappears with my coat and starts wrapping it around me as Margot keeps talking.
Come see me when you get back. I'll be waiting in my study. Bonne chance.
Let's go, Lillian. Oh my, I'm ready.
We're at La Libellule. There's a slight flutter in my chest as I step into the dim lighting of La Libellule just after 8. Having rushed here without warning made me a little anxious, but my nerves are overridden by my excitement. The car ride here was hardly enough time to process the news. I have a field assignment abroad. Margot thinks I'm ready to work without her supervision. The thought makes me swell with pride. I won't let her down. I'm excited for this next step, and I'm extremely curious about my partner, Émile Desrosiers. But I have to wonder why he chose this bar for a meeting place. It seems like a popular spot, crowded with locals and soldiers on leave. The three-man band playing in the corner can barely be heard over the din of conversation. Not that the noise stops anyone from dancing. The patrons here to be, for a lack of a better word, plastered. Dancers swing each other around with reckless abandon, knocking into other patrons. I catch a man in the middle of a very animated story accidentally slosh his drink on a comrade. There are a few couples necking out in the open. This is nothing like the places I visit with Margot. It's a dive. I suppose there's a little risk of anyone overhearing us in a place like this, though I certainly stand out in my party attire. I don't normally mind eyes on me, but that's not the point of tonight. I draw my coat around myself a little tighter, doing what I can to hide the beading on my dress. It's a challenge to see past the crowds at the bar, no matter how much I crane my neck. There's no one here matching the description Margot gave me. Surely I'm not the first to arrive. If I am, I'd better find somewhere for us to sit. Gritting my teeth, I force my way through the crowd to the back, where I hope to find an empty table. A cluster of soldiers shouting at each other blocks my path. I press past them, calling out, "M'excuse," though I doubt they can hear me. When I finally do reach my destination, there is nothing available. Just as I think my efforts were for naught, a couple arises from their seats. They haven't taken more than a step away before I'm lunging for the empty chair. Another woman reaches for the same one, but I'm slightly faster to slide into the seat. Taken! She gives me a sneer before slinking back towards the bar. Empty chairs are clearly hard to come by, all the better that I state my claim. It's warm in here. There There's no sign of my partner as I scan the room.
Where is he? I need to know. This is so funny to me. Okay, I'm so excited for this.
I drum my fingers on the table, slightly irked that I was such a rush to get here, only to overheat while I wait. It's no wonder, with me in a coat and the sheer number of bodies. Deciding I'd rather stick out than sweat, I reluctantly shrug off my outer layer. I catch a few odd looks as I drape the coat over the back of my chair. I understand why. My dress shimmers amidst all the dark colors of the room. My tiara girl, she didn't even have time to take off her tiara, shines too brightly under the buzzing bulbs above. But I have to ignore it. If I act as though everything is as it should be, perhaps they will all grow used to me and move their attention to other things. I ease back into my chair and resume my scan of heads in the room. My eyes land on a dark-haired man at the bar. Is that Inu? He might be, but I don't see the scarf that's supposed to identify him. And he doesn't appear to be waiting for me. He's deep in conversation with another woman. She's beautiful, imposingly so, but the shade of lipstick of her mouth is an intense red. Though cosmetics, like blush, powder, eyeshadow, and lip stain were commonly worn in the early 1900s, the prevailing beauty standard was that women should not appear to be wearing makeup. My goodness. So the no makeup look is there. The obvious use of makeup was associated with stage and sex work. I see. She's a prostitute. She must be. That can't be my partner talking to her. I turn away and continue my search. He must be here. Let's see. Soldier. Too blonde. Too old. Another soldier. Thump! Clink, clink, clink. I whip around in the direction of the clamor. The prostitute slammed her fists onto the bar so fiercely that people are turning to look, assuming something has broken. She looks furious. Her companion glares at her venomously. I'll leave whenever the fuck I want. Calm down. You don't tell me what to do. You gotta pay for that privilege, asshole.
Fucking Christ.
She angrily gathers up her coat and throws it on. The man languidly slides off the bar stool, trying to grab her shoulder, but she just shrugs away. She turns, spits on the floor, and storms out. He rolls his eyes before downing the glass of wine he had and grabbing his own coat. My eyes lock onto something reddish sticking out from the pocket. Oh no, don't tell me. The man disappears into the throng. I only catch a glimpse of him by the exit, wrapping a burgundy scarf around his neck as he leaves. That was Emile Desrosiers, and now he's gone. I have to go after him. I barely stood before someone snatches my chair. Damn it. That table was hard to come by, but I push my way through the crowd, hoping that I can catch up to him. Why wasn't he wearing the scarf before? Probably because it's hot inside. If I can't meet my contact, how is Margot supposed to trust me with a mission abroad? I duck under the chins of a kissing couple, careful not to bump them, then thread myself through a few groups of dancers as nimbly as I'm able, given my flouncy attire. When I finally reach the door, it swings open, and I'm nearly thrown backwards by someone else coming in. Oh my god, who is it? Catching my balance, I look up to see none other than the dark-haired man in the burgundy scarf staring down at me. There's a scowl on his face, but it doesn't mask the fact that he's got striking features. Piercing blue eyes framed by thick brows, a strong jaw, a slight bump to his nose. Pieces of dark hair fall carelessly in his face. The fact is pleasing, and for a moment, I forget myself. Fair. Monsieur Desrosiers? His eyebrows fly up in surprise. He looks me up and down as if baffled by what's before him. Did they cancel the ballet? What? You one of those dancing girls in the tutus? You mean a ballerina? Sure. No. Then why are you dressed up like one? I'm not. This is a Lucille. A well-known English fashion designer of the early 20th century, famous for her lingerie, tea gowns, and evening wear. Who the fuck is Lucille?
Oh my god, I love the dialogue between these two. Okay. Without waiting for a reply, he breezes past me back towards the bar, forcing me to follow. At least it's easier walking in his wake than wending my way through the crowd on my own. He arrives at the end of the bar where he was set up before, but finds it occupied. Ugh. You are in my spot. The man sitting in the stool seems ready to object, but the barkeep whistles at him and jabs his thumb in the opposite direction, a signal to get lost. Clearly he has some cachet here. The occupier and his companion do so, grumbling as they go, but leaving their stools free for us. The man in the burgundy scarf lights up a cigarette as he settles back into his seat. You are Emile de Rosier, aren't you? And you must be Mary Pickford. A famous actress of the silent film era, known as the Queen of the Movies. Pickford defined the ingenue type. I think. Ingenue type. I don't know how to say that in English. Anyways. I frown at him. I came from a party. Was it at Buckingham Palace? This is supposed to be a clandestine meeting. You're dressed like a fairy princess, as he continues to scowl. He's stuck on my outfit and not taking me seriously, and he seems at home here, being well acquainted with the barkeep. I won't get very far, challenge him on his own turf. Making an effort at accommodation will likely to get me further. I carefully remove the tiara from my head. My hair, which had been relying on the headpiece to stay up, tumbles down around my face. I stuff the tiara into my handbag and quickly comb through my hair with my fingers. He looks at me with eyes wide. Better? Not really. If you wanted me to dress for the occasion, you should have given Madame de Givry more than 20 minutes' notice. I'm not saying you look bad. You just are, conspicuous. As conspicuous as starting a loud fight in the middle of a crowded bar? He simply grins at this and takes a long drag from his cigarette, watching me as I perch on the stool next to him. His stare is unnerving. Not that I'll let him know that. I hope everything with your lady friend is all right. Oh, that? She was just drunk. I narrow my eyes at him. And you're not? Oh, I am. I've been at it for a little while. You should probably catch up. He flashes 2 fingers at the barkeep, who returns with a pair of glasses for us. Oh, none for me. You want to stick out more? Who comes to a bar and doesn't drink? The barkeep slides us the bottle, and Emile pours us each a healthy amount. I begrudgingly accept the glass. So, what is your name, princess? Lillian. Not bad. A little posh, but not bad. Not bad? Who asked you? Exactly. But I hold my tongue. As much as it would please me to tell him off, I won't do at the cost of my assignment. Do you mind if we just get into it? Oh, you got somewhere to be, Lily. It's Lillian. Isn't that what I just said? It's now very apparent to me why someone would try to destroy Bartop with him around. He leans back and blows his cigarette smoke into the air. I can't believe I was actually looking forward to meeting this person. I wonder why we were assigned to each other. What do you mean? I take a sip from my glass, letting the wine linger on my tongue. A direct challenge won't do in this scenario, but the right comment here might get him to focus. You seem to have a rather casual attitude in general. He scowls at me. What are you implying? That I'm not taking this seriously? I shrug. You want to talk business? Fine. I smile at my little victory. There is a train at 11 tomorrow. I'll have papers for us, false ones. We'll cross with those. After that, I think we are expected to find him. I will have to follow your lead on that. Wait, stop. What? I have multiple questions. You speak English? Yes, I speak English. I don't want people to hear, so. How did you know that I speak English? They said you were American, but I can tell from your accent.
He levels me with a look. It pricks me that I'm not passing for Parisian as well as I thought.
And you are very rushed, impatient.
In other words, not very French. He shrugs, enjoying having returned my earlier bar. Even drunk, Emile can give as good as he gets. But I'm not here to play games. He has the information I need. A new strategy is in order. Yes, well, your English is very good.
You are surprised. Should I be offended?
My olive branch is rejected with a scoff. I meant it as a compliment. He eyes me suspiciously. Flattery doesn't appear to be the strategy either. Back to business, then. Anyway, you mentioned we are just supposed to find him. Who are we meant to find? He blinks at me. You gave me 20 minutes notice for a meeting, my dude. You gave her that much. Oh my. Did he not understand? Who are we meeting?
They didn't tell you. I thought they were supposed to tell you.
Like I said, I found out about this meeting 20 minutes before we were supposed to meet. There was no time to discuss any particulars. You have to fill me in. He clicks his tongue in annoyance. He reaches a hand into the inner pockets of his coat, searching for something. I watch as he pats himself down with a frustrated scowl. He finally finds what he was looking for, a small photo. Look, from the beginning, then. He reaches for my hand, taking it in his. His touch is kinder than I would have thought, but the gesture catches me off guard nonetheless. He flips my hand over and slips the photograph into my palm. I hold it under the bar top, out of sight.
Herbert Denham. He entered Germany, how to say it, seeking treatment for an illness. At least that is the excuse. His little spa tour was excellent cover while he watched what the military did along the south border.
From the 1700s to the 1930s, it was popular, especially in Europe, to visit spas to take the waters. Bathing or drinking spring water was thought to have healing properties. Many spa facilities would offer social and leisure activities in conjunction with exercise activities and medical treatments. The southern border. I thought all of the fighting was taking place further north.
It is, for now. But if they use the fighting in the north to distract while they attacked from the south, that would be clever, no?
So if Denham can pass along the information he's gathered,
the Allies will know whether or not to send resources south, yes. But the Germans are getting, méfiant.
Suspicious.
Suspicious. It's making it difficult for him to leave on his own.
I stow the photograph away in my handbag. If they are suspicious, why not arrest him?
What? I can't hear you.
The music has picked up, eliciting whoops from the crowd. I repeat my question, louder this time. I said, why haven't...
Don't shout, stupid.
He scoots his stool towards me, drawing close.
Try again.
Why haven't they arrested him? This time, I'm heard.
These spas are not cheap. The authorities will not want to bring him in with no proof when he spends so much gold. If they had real proof, the Germans would have,
He slides a finger across his neck. Is his English starting to slip? The wine must be hitting him. I'm working on my first glass, but he's already on his second or third. Who knows how many he had before I got here. Okay, so when we find him, what do we do with him?
Help him escape, of course. To La Suisse, a neutral country.
It's to Switzerland. Switzerland remained neutral throughout World War I. Germany never marched through Switzerland, in large part due to the mountainous terrain, instead opting to march through Belgium. When he speaks, he leans in to talk directly into my ear. The hum of his voice sends an unintentional shiver down my spine. It's an intimate sensation. With him so close, I can see the freckles dusting his nose. Oh, I see them. Oh yeah, I can see them now. Sorry to point at your nose, my dude. I get the feeling he's older than me, but not by much. I ponder this, all while fighting the urge to scowl at the cigarette smoke drifting between us, blowing into my face. It's distractingly unpleasant. That sounds difficult, especially if he's being watched.
Obviously.
I scoot back to escape the smoke. Emil frowns at me and grabs my stool, dragging it towards him, leaving almost no space between us.
Why do you keep moving away? I'm trying to make it so we can hear each other.
It's hard to talk to someone with a lit cigarette in your face.
What am I supposed to do? Not smoke? We're in a fucking bar.
I mean, girl, I get it. I don't like smoke in my face either, so.
I'm unable to hide my displeasure any longer. He pulls out his cigarette case and opens it for me, clearly not understanding the problem.
Have one, then we'll be even.
I mean, I guess he's trying.
No thanks. He snaps the case closed with a groan.
If you don't stop looking like I pissed in your wine, someone's going to get the wrong idea and try to rescue you. You're pretty enough, I'm sure they're just waiting for a chance.
He's not wrong. As I look around the room, I spy several soldiers milling about, all likely in search of a sweet memory to carry with them to the front. Their desperation is palpable as I scan the room for a female company. Emil puts his finger under my chin to bring my attention back to him.
Do you need rescuing?
I resist the urge to roll my eyes, as I have just done behind, right now in the camera. I'm not even on the camera, but you know what I mean, behind the screen.
No. I swat his hand away. He frowns and grumbles into his wine glass before finishing it off.
Your little bourgeois act doesn't impress me, Lily. And don't think for a second I'm going to put up with you being difficult. Not if we're going to have to pretend to be married.
Oh my god, I'm so looking forward to this. Ah! Not the we have to pretend to be married because of work situation. One of my faves. I awkwardly balk, having lost all patience with this man. Who would believe us as a couple?
Pardon?
You can't even bother to get my name right.
What did I say?
You said Lily again. It's Lillian.
Lillian, whatever. Just go with whatever happens tomorrow, okay? I don't want to get caught.
Neither do I, but I'm not convinced we could keep the act up of being married. No matter how difficult it would be to travel as a single man and a single woman, I have to imagine that it would be easier than playing house with this jerk. I wonder if he's thinking the same thing because he pauses mid-sip, taking a moment to consider me.
Girl, it's your assignment. You have to just do it. Otherwise, how can you be spy? Continue to be spy, you know? I'm supposing that's what you have to do with spies. Obviously, that's not my line of work, so I have no idea.
Have you done anything like this before?
No.
Well, really?
For a second, he's not able to mask his surprise. But before I can respond, we are interrupted.
Miss, is this man bothering you? Oh, not the soldier.
Feeling a hand on my shoulder, I jump. I hadn't noticed the soldier making his way towards us.
Her face. Ugh, I love it. Look at Emil, her like, I guess whatever.
He leans back in his chair, Emil, gloating. He was right about me drawing unwanted attention. Margot said something similar earlier about needing to hide my reactions better. Clearly, this is something I need to work on. Now I have to send this would-be savior away, even if Emil's smirk is daring me to do otherwise. I turn to face the soldier and immediately regret it as he is swaying quite drunkenly above me. I silently will his drink to stay in its glass, lest I receive a faceful of beer.
Do you want me to beat this guy up, miss? I am a very good fighter, and a good lover, too.
He throws a clumsy wink at me, then a venomous look at Emil. No, I'm fine, thank you.
Ah, come on. How about a little dance?
The lady said no.
Fuck off, mustache. I like him. If you can't tell, I really like Emil. It's gonna be so great to see Lillian and Emil do more of their banter. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Ignoring Emil, the soldier attempts to reach out and touch my shoulder again, but he's wavering and makes a stumble, and the contents of his drink that were threatening to spill out fulfill their prophecy. I'm splashed from the neck down in warm beer. Ew. I jump up. For a moment, there's nothing but silence as I stare down at my now soaked front, while the soldier looks on in horror. The irony of the situation is not lost on me. I did the exact same thing to someone earlier this evening. But that was on purpose, and I have zero interest in the person who just drenched me.
Oh, sorry. Do you want my handkerchief?
He fishes a crumpled rag out of his jacket pocket and meekly holds it out to me. I've never wanted anything less. I ball my fists. You idiot!
Okay. How about I make it up to you? Would you like another drink?
This dress was 60 francs. I'm sure that's expensive. And now it smells like swill. I'm livid. I snatch his handkerchief out of his hand and throw it in his face. Shove it up your ass. That drink and that nasty rag. I hear Emil's bark of laughter from behind. The soldier merely gawks at me. We've attracted the attention of several bar patrons who look on with excitement and anticipation. Their eyes ping-pong between me and the soldier, eager to see how this unfolds. The soldier, perhaps noticing that all eyes are now on him, puffs up a little.
How dare you talk to me like that, you... Terrible! Don't call her that.
Yeah, she's American. But you know what? I'd be mad too. Anyways.
Oop. The slap I deliver to his cheek makes him stumble slightly. Deserved. The crowd around us gasps and guffaws. Get lost, or I will go for your balls next time. The soldier, no doubt cowed at being bullied by a woman, finally scuttles away. The crowd claps, and I return to my seat with a relieved sigh.
And Emil looks so shocked.
I reach for a bar napkin, pouting slightly as I set to work, soaking up the beer in my chest. Emil refills both of our glasses before leaning against the bar and gazing at me with, "Is that some sort of respect?"
That was rude.
I know. Can you believe that guy?
No, I mean you.
Me?
Yeah, he will go back to the front tomorrow, and his last memory before he gets blown up will be of you threatening to break his balls. Poor bastard.
I'm starting to hate the fact that he speaks English so well. He's still somehow better than you. He's at least making an admirable sacrifice for his country.
It's not making a sacrifice when there's a draft.
In the early 1900s, France conscripted all fit men of age to serve in the military for a 3-year period from the age of 20. Is that why you aren't at the front? With an irritated sigh, he puts out his cigarette. Never mind, it's none of my business.
It's not, but I understand why you asked. I'm the right age. I'm fit enough. The answer is because I'm doing this instead. Given the choice, I'd rather be here.
Was he given a choice? Curious, I wonder how that came about. But he doesn't seem very forthcoming with details. I hope that is something we learn in the story later. It's probably a waste of time to ask, so I move on. Right, so where exactly is Denham right now?
Bon sang, why are you that determined to be boring? We were starting to have a good time.
This is what you call a good time? I'm soaked in beer and I almost got into a fight.
Yes, it was very entertaining. Better than going to the cinema.
We have very different ideas of fun, it seems. Listen, can you just tell me where to find Denham?
Geez, fine. Denham is waiting for us at a hotel in Lorac, the Hotel Lowen. And he is an American like you. That should make it easier to talk to him.
Why? Because we Americans all know each other?
In Europe? Yes.
I can't tell if he's joking, so I mentally wave away the comment in favor of reviewing the mission. Enter an enemy country, undetected, find the agent, Herbert Denham, and help him cross the border without raising suspicion. This assignment doesn't really play to any of my strengths. And what exactly does Emil bring to the table? He said the papers. If this louse is the only person able to help me, I might be better off on my own.
What's wrong?
He eyes me as he lights a new cigarette. Why send us together? Surely this sort of thing shouldn't need more than one agent.
You are trying to get rid of me.
Yes. No. He's more perceptive than I initially gave him credit for.
You speak German, right? And I know you know how to get us across the border. And I know how to get us across the border, Emil.
I'm not sure what getting across the border surreptitiously requires. I could probably figure something out if push came to shove. I'm resourceful. His confidence in his own skills is reassuring, but it doesn't remove my reservations about this partnership.
They must have thought we'd make a good team. I mean, it makes sense if it's like, most likely, like, your first mission, girl. It's like the enemy territory. It's kind of a big mission. You know? Like, I'm not saying you need it, but I guess it's good. Good to have company.
He offers me a crooked smile, the first one I've seen all night that wasn't at my expense. Is this a peace offering?
Or
Or,
you had to ruin it. Maybe they think you need a babysitter since it's your first time. In case you fuck up.
there it is. I force a smile in return. Oh, if I fail, rest assured I'm taking you down with me, monsieur. He laughs at my parry.
Fair enough.
I see. He just wants someone to go back and forth with him. This is a game. What?
What a comment. I forgot about this. I just thought my first wife would have bigger tits.
An outrageous thing to say, but it's all part of the game. Now it's my turn. You just heard me threaten to punch someone in the balls. You aren't exempt from that either. When he doesn't get the shock reaction he was expecting, he laughs.
You are welcome to try it, Lillian.
Success. We could have another drink and keep playing, but I have all the information I need for the mission. And there are things to do before I leave. Packing, for starters. Not to mention a conversation with Margot if she's still awake. Well, I should be going.
Olé. Come on, seriously? Say, you were just starting to be fun.
I have to get home and start preparing.
You should, too.
He pouts and turns away from me. I watch him silently tip the wine bottle over in his glass. A lone drop falls out. He's clearly drunk, but I can't make him go home. Giving up, I slide off of my stool. I'm about to replace my coat, but think better of that when I remember I'm covered in beer. It'll be cold, but I'd rather not have to launder the coat too if I can avoid it. I'm only 2 steps away from the bar when Emile calls out to me.
Are you planning on going to every train station in Paris, or do you want me to save you that trouble and tell you where we'll meet? Unless you were trying to get rid of me?
He's kidding, but in truth I hadn't eliminated that possibility. It might not be fair to judge someone by first impression, but he seems challenging. I owe it to Margot to speak with her first before I write him off entirely. Turning back, I see Emile sitting with his elbow on the bar and his head in his head. His head in his hand. I can tell he's going to be difficult about this too. Well, he stays mum, his eyes flick down to my stool, signaling that he's waiting for me to sit. I'm running out of patience, but lowering myself into the seat. I hope to get this over with sooner rather than later. As soon as I do, he perks up.
Another bottle, then?
Don't you dare. He grins. Gare de l'Est, platform 3. I nod and start to leave once again, but he grabs my wrist.
Remember, 11 a.m. Don't be late. Woo! Okay. Alright, sorry for that very direct cut to the main screen here. I was recording earlier and had to go tend to something, so I had to do a weird cut. Anyways, I think I'm gonna leave it here for today. I see that I've recorded for about an hour. It's kind of a weird position to like cut, I think, or a weird spot to cut. We're still at the part where if you see me, or you know, you're familiar with this game, you've played the demo, we're still technically in demo land, or at least the content where the demo had also included all this stuff, all this story. But there's a lot more fun coming up, so I am just gonna cut it here for today. I was debating whether or not I was gonna do another like first part on my channel, but I realized that I should spare any new people particularly, or anyone else who has watched the demo, spare them of my French pronunciation. I'm sure it took a lot to listen through that. Anyways, so that's mainly it. Plus, I kind of wanted to refresh
the details about the story. But I'm very excited. Lillian does not seem impressed by Emil, but that's okay. I have high hopes that they're gonna, grow to love each other. Whatever, we're gonna figure that out as we go along. But I'm very excited for just continuing to play and seeing how they get along in the field. It's gonna be great. And I think I've mentioned this, but I am going to do Emil's route. We will not meet our nice blonde friend here on the title screen for a while, I'm assuming. I have no idea. At least not initially. So look forward to that. Anyways, if you like the video, please press the like button. And if you'd like to subscribe, also please press subscribe. I will be playing this game as thoroughly as I can, and I am, again, really excited to check it out. So I hope you are too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you later. Bye!